You know, doing life with the gospel, which is Jesus, is exciting. I mean, it is it's like a great movie. Like you sitting on the edge of your seat, eating popcorn and you know, and just having a really good time, seeing all the scenes and the different, situations and everything just kind of evolve. And then all of a sudden it gets to a climax where you don't know what's going to happen next. And you sitting on the edge waiting to see who did it, where it's coming from, what was the sound, whatever, right? Man, doing life with the gospel is the same way. I sit on the edge of my seat, not knowing where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, whatever the case may be. But it's so much, I tell you, to discover that I wouldn't trade it for the world. I had a revelation about, Moses, man. Listen, Moses, of course, as I talked about previously, the Lord built him up and established his confidence in him and then sent him to be rejected. Over and over again, the Pharaoh was constantly telling him no. And he's having to constantly go back because the Lord is like, listen, it's going to happen. You just don't know when, but keep pressing. And so that's what he kept doing. And because of his confidence in God, rejection was like, whatever. You know what I mean? It just rolled off his back. And then all of a sudden, so imagine this, right? My life looked kind of like his, having to go out and pursue the will of God and hear no over and over again. Not knowing what the resource is going to look like because God has said, listen, take this staff. This is my gift to you. Take this staff and everywhere you go, begin to insert the gift, right? And it's going to be sufficient no matter what. It's going to be good. And then I'm going to do my part. And I'm not going to tell you what it's going to look like, but I'm going to do it. And so as I'm inserting my gift, just like Moses. So here's the thing. Pharaoh began to have his magi and all his people. You know what I'm saying? And I apologize if I didn't say that right. But needless to say, he starts having like the magicians and everything, do tricks because he's like, okay, if Moses puts the staff down and it turned to a snake, then I can do that too. It ain't nothing. Ball out, right? So he tells his magician, like, listen, do what he did. Anything you can do, I can do better, right? This is what this was like over and over again. So he takes so his magicians, basically made a snake too. And then Moses is like, well, whatever, but I still know what I'm doing is a reflection of what God is telling me to do. And I know that this is a miracle being performed of God, not me just doing what I do or me making and creating this up, right? So anyway, I look at my life and it's like that too. That I'm over here, I'm working, I have a business that I'm working and still establishing and all of that stuff. And so then when things become rough and difficult, I start to realize that other people start to say, Aquila, you thought that what you said to do was of God. And here's the reality is your story and my story looks no different. So how do you know that it was really God that told you to do it? And it wasn't just you that made a decision to go out and start a business or whatever, right? And so I'm up here like low key looking at God like, hold on a minute. You see they pulling out snakes. I put the staff down, it turned to a snake. And they pulling out stuff and it turned to a snake too. And we looking like we the same, but I know the inspiration, the motivation, the foundation of what I'm doing is all built on you, Father. So what? And I just want to encourage you that it doesn't matter what the other guy has or does. You stick to what God told you to do. Yeah, you pulling out sticks and you even may think your stick is better. I may turn water into to blood and then you turn around and put food coloring in yours and it may look the same. What you may do may look like what the next person on your left or your right is doing. But unless you spend time with the Father and in his word, then you're not going to know where your inspiration coming from. You'll be to let somebody convince you that what you're doing is no greater than what the other guy's doing. And I want to tell you that that's not true.